ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on this week's episode, we'll be talking about the movies Moana and Moana 2. That's right, another double up here. It's been a minute. But of course, before we get to any of that, I am joined today by Canoe Nathaniel Gingrich.
Canoe, you doing?
It's a good one. Oh man, I was gonna try to think of a quick kayak pun, but I couldn't do it. Kayak or canoe, Nathaniel? What do you prefer?
Well, never been in a kayak. Been in a canoe.
Really?
Okay.
What?
Have you not been in a kayak, but in a canoe?
I don't know. I just I guess all my kayaking opportunities I ended up canoeing instead. Maybe, I don't know. I've been in a canoe when it flips over. That's not fun.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it's not great.
Can't say I've
The
had
term
that
you're
happen.
looking for is capsized.
Capsized. Well, can a kayak be a two-person? No, I think after that point, that's when it becomes a canoe.
Kayaks are, I think,
No, you
almost
can. I think
exclusively
the
one
main
person.
difference.
But like, are they the ones
is-
where they cinch up to your waist?
Yeah, I think the
Often.
main difference is the body style is a little bit different, and
Yeah.
the enclosure up top. Like canoes are typically always open,
Yeah, I've definitely only been canoeing then.
whereas kayaks are typically more closed off.
I've been in kayaks that are a little bit more open, though. It is more closed off than a canoe for sure. But kayaks can still be open, I'm pretty sure. I'm not an expert, though. But I've always enjoyed kayaking, especially solo kayaking. Like, I don't know, I've just had a good time.
Well, yeah, that was where I was
Paddling
getting to my
around.
point. I think I would like kayaking.
Yeah, kayaking is a good time. You know, kind of
Kayaking's
get a crew
dope.
together. You can do it. You can do it solo. You can, get a little kayaking crew together, patrol the waters.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing for me is I just like not having to rely on other people
That's exactly what I was
capsizing
going to
my
say.
canoe.
Yeah, exactly. Unreliable people. Although I feel like the four of us could operate well in a canoe. You know, we could get it down.
Well, at
We
that
could
point,
be like it.
just get the like the oar system.
Yeah.
You know, like our.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
rowing
Is
team.
we could go Gladiator 2. They're pounding on the drums, and it's heave ho, that whole thing. We could get that going. Also joining us today is Castaway Tyler Verdalis.
Well said.
Never seen that movie. It's been on my list. For a
Oh
long time.
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. That's definitely one of those.
You know, I've never seen that movie either.
That's even crazier.
Really?
Yeah, I never saw Castaway.
That's going on the short list.
Yeah, I'm shortlisting right now.
Yeah, I already got it up, brother.
That's surprising.
I own it
gotcha.
as well too. I got a Blu-ray for it around here somewhere.
That's hilarious. Did you guys any of you guys snag any Black Friday movie deals for yourselves?
I did not no, I didn't personally. By the way, as well too, we also have the A24 discs in. Little sideways
Oh.
plug here. So like we have After Sun, I Saw the TV Glow, and what was the other one? Oh, Love Lies Bleeding. Then they did a little novelization of X as well too.
That's
It's,
awesome.
It's cool. Yeah. Oh, and there's special editions of The Lighthouse, Midsummer, and some other.
Why are
ones as
you
well,
just
too.
now telling me about this?
I just wanted to let you know. Just get a little plug,
Okay.
plug it in here
All
for the boys.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. Apparently, Barnes and Noble is just carrying like the entire A24 shop now, more or less.
That's awesome.
So
Love to hear it.
I support it
Smart
fully.
move.
Do they have the A24 merch? I've gotten targeted Instagram ads of A24
Like, I genuinely-
t-shirts and hats and
I genuinely think like we maybe start carrying it like soon. Like I think we can get like the
Awesome.
not the like shirts and hat like the apparel, but like some of like the
Yeah.
gift stuff now, kind
yeah,
of.
yeah. I fully support this. I'll be stopping by.
Well, you've been
Barnes and Noble.
saying
Apparently-
that, sir.
I have been, but I'll come around. When are you working next? You working this weekend?
I'm always
What day?
working.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I will be in on Saturday though. You could see me then.
I could probably come in on Saturday. I'll let you know. No, I fully support the A24 Barnes and Noble team up. And I heard that the manga section at Barnes Noble has just like quadrupled in size in the past 5 years. Is this true?
A lot
Massive.
of places, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, mangas. Apparently, the kids like they can't read in general, but the ones that can,
Yeah.
they love reading graphic novels.
Yeah.
They've like graphic novelized everything from like Magic Treehouse to like Babysitter Clubs, all that stuff. And then
My girlfriend's little brother's 13, and he loves graphic novels.
and then they jump to manga, and
Yeah.
then go nuts on manga.
He's a gamer. He plays Valorant. You know, he's on Roblox all the time. He's going to be very susceptible to get into anime. So when I'm there,
and,
actually, I don't know.
and so many other brain viruses that are going to be great for him.
Well, and a lot of microplastics, but you know that's besides the point. We're all exposed to that.
We're collectively getting so old on this podcast. We're all
Bro.
boomers. Or Nathaniel, which is like, well, the young kids now, like, actually, none of them can even read. He just goes
That's
on
just-
to his next.
Dude, he's not.
That's
he's
what
not wrong.
that's what the parents tell me. Like that's just what I hear. Like,
No, you're not wrong.
This is
dude.
boots on the ground. I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah, but let's get rid of the Department of Education. That's a great idea.
You
Who
know,
needs education?
yeah.
You got the internet for that, man.
It doesn't matter. And then
That's
yeah,
true.
but on the other hand, like, who are we? Maybe they're already. Maybe in like 5 years they'll be communicating with the AI on a
No, you're
molecular level,
100%
and
correct.
I'll be the idiot, right? Like,
No, I can already feel the divide happen where I'm like, oh, I think things are not okay that this next generation is not going to have a single issue with, and I think the next
Hence,
like
share my
generational
location.
divide. Well, you know that's fine. What are you so scared about, Nathaniel? What do you got to hide?
no one needs to know where I am.
He's at Barnes and Noble. Oh,
Because I
could've
can,
guessed that.
because now I can't assassinate a CEO without the surveillance
That's fair.
state getting me
Well, just
within
you know,
seconds, bro.
Just leave your phone at home. Then you have an alibi. You could say anybody could have tracked my location at any time. You have me there. You have me on the stand testifying that I checked your location at 6:03 a.m.
That's-
on Monday morning, and Nathaniel was in his apartment getting ready for
You
work.
can't be putting
And I
this
saw him drive to
you can't be putting this alibi out there for free, man.
again. This is all a joke. You can check my
Allegedly.
location, FBI.
This is
Um,
entertainment purposes only.
Yes, but my hypothesis is that the next generational divide, maybe not Gen Alpha, but at least the next generation after that, with these like Neuralink things and people inserting technology into their bodies and just like kind of merging with that a little bit. I don't want that anywhere near my brain, but I think the next generations are not going to have a single issue with it and won't think twice. I think they're just going to be like, oh yeah, computer chip in my brain, like cool, like let's do it, like just easier access to my iPad, like whatever it
Right,
is,
right.
like let's just merge. I don't want that one bit.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. Rounding out the squadron, is actually how you doing, Ty? Sorry, I introduced you and then we.
No, you're
cut you
good,
off.
man. I'm good.
You got
You had such a good Castaway impression. At least, you know,
Yeah,
I haven't seen
I
it, but I think
tried.
it sounded pretty good. But then we completely went off a tangent.
No, you're good. I'm good. Just working and staying warm and then shout out to my sister and her husband. They just had their baby.
Hey,
So that is very cool. So
applause.
Round of applause.
I got it going.
shout out. What is it? Was it Grayson? Is that the name you put in there?
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out.
The official back row baby here on Back Row Banter.
Back row baby.
For
yeah,
the
I'm
Congratulations to you, Uncle Ty, and of course your sister
Yeah, man.
and her husband.
Appreciate it.
Always very exciting. I don't know if I can't say this. Never mind. Off pod. Yeah, I was about to leak some private information that should not be public. But anyway, yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
Uncle
very excited
Ty.
for you. Yeah, Uncle Ty.
Yep.
Is this the first? This is your first time being an uncle, or do you have any other?
Well, Leah has a brother and a sister.
Okay.
They both have kids. And then Justin's girlfriend Alex has Wyatt.
Right.
But
Oh,
this
right,
is
right.
this is the first legitimate blood heir to the throne.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So
That's exciting.
yeah, but yeah, it's cool. I can't wait to meet him, and he's cute as a button. And
How's
yeah,
your
it's dope.
rents doing?
They're good. My mom's been down there since Saturday, and I think she's coming home Sunday.
Okay.
So she's been hanging out with them, and then my dad and stepmom went down there, met him last night, and then saw him again this morning, and then headed back up to Woodstock. So
Cool.
yeah,
Well, congrats.
thanks. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Everyone's happy and healthy.
That's what we need to hear.
That's what's important.
Yep.
Love
Yeah,
hearing about a healthy
100%.
baby.
Absolutely.
Bubs.
And rounding out the squadron over there, of course, is Big Wave BlakeHolder.
What's going on, fellas? Hey, I thought I'd go with the big boat, but I feel like we've wasted that now probably 3 or 4 times. Maybe
yeah,
wasted
that
is
would
the
have
correct
been
term.
back-to-back weeks
But,
with Big
yeah.
Boat, so I felt like we should move on.
Boats.
Boats. So yeah, we went with Wave today. I don't know. I didn't put a ton of thought into the names this week. I was
Yeah,
just
no
they were a
worries.
little lazy, but they all fit.
No worries.
Um,
Speaking of wave, then there's a beer
Big
that I
wave.
like, and I'm not the biggest beer drinker. Is it Kona Big Wave?
That's
Kona Big
correct.
Wave. I knew
That's
the
what
one.
it is. Okay, yeah.
Very
Anytime
good.
I see it, I'm like, you know what? Let me get one of those.
Yeah, it's great beer.
Yeah.
It's a great beer. Yeah, that's a go-to for me if I see it. I've had enough where it's like if I've got a lot of options, like that's not, and I see it on draft, it's not like I'll go for something I haven't tried yet first.
Of
but,
course, right?
know,
but
at
it's
like
a fallback.
You
if
know
it's
where you
like at a
stand.
stadium or like yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I know where I stand. That's an easy go-to fallback for me.
Mhm.
Love a good Big Wave. And you guys had a Montucky Cold Snacks. That's not like a super.
I love to
hot,
drink
hot,
a Montucky cold snack.
yeah.
Those are
Not
good.
not a super like under or like unknown pick, but those are also a good fallback for me. Yeah, I do love a good Kona Big Wave. Now, Blake, if you're not a big beer drinker, what is your like alcoholic beverage of choice? Not that you drink a ton, but
Yeah. Well, I guess first I have to preface it. Not a huge drinker.
yeah,
But I think my immediate option is gonna be tequila soda.
dude,
Tequila soda with a lime,
man, I want to high five you
and-
so bad right now, bro.
and
It's-
I'm good.
yeah, I usually do a tequila Sprite to start off the night, and then I only do one
Sure.
of those because I'll get a headache, and then I do tequila soda.
Yep.
Something like that, But tequila is my mixed drink, hard alcohol of choice,
For
or
sure.
just hard
Mine too.
alcohol of choice in general. Love tequila.
Yeah.
Your
Can't go
lady.
Yeah. I want to get into these reviews, but I just want to touch on really quick. Big weekend for movies, gentlemen. I don't know if you guys saw one of the biggest weekends, especially like Thanksgiving weekends for movies. Period.
Yeah, I did see that.
The AMC app and AMC had a waiting queue
Yeah.
to book movie tickets, and I've never seen that happen before. At least in
I haven't
recent, like,
either.
memory. Which was wild to see. So shout out Wicked, Gladiator 2, Moana, the big three, I guess.
Yeah.
What's crazy
Um,
was I didn't even think Moana was going to be the one on anyone's radar, and it just
Yeah.
smoked everything else this
Yep.
weekend as well. So
I knew. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess-
I mean, Moana was pretty big, and then I knew when this got announced that it was going to be pretty big, especially that close to Thanksgiving. You got kids off from school
Yeah.
still.
I guess I just thought
Um,
Wicked was going to carry over all of that, and it being like the new property or something families were gonna be seeing that instead. But I underestimated the Moana masses.
You sure did.
Adam,
Yeah, just wanted to touch on that though. Very exciting. I hate. It's fun watching film Twitter like hate on Wicked 2, Wicked 2. Wow.
Wicked too.
Wicked 2. But hate on Wicked, which I had a friend of mine say he really enjoyed it, and he's not like a big musical person or Wizard of Oz person or never seen Wicked, but he went and saw it and really enjoyed it. I don't know if any of you guys have.
I have not seen it yet. I will be at some
Yeah,
point.
I might go try to see it this weekend because of his recommendation. I wasn't planning on it, but I might. But those movies end up keeping theaters in business, keeping, they fund other movies and stuff like that. So it doesn't matter what movie people are seeing and whether you hate it or, dislike it or whatever it is, as long as there are people going to the theaters, that's all that matters. So this is definitely a good time to celebrate that. So
I disagree. I think they should only watch what I say and like what I like.
And you know what? You're entitled to that opinion, Nathaniel.
And what I like is Moana 1. Let's get into the
Moana
review
1.
segment.
Let's get into it. Yeah, we're gonna have to kind of not necessarily breeze by these, but we'll run them a little bit. Obviously double ep.
Classic double ep.
Classic double ep. I didn't go back and look at the last double ep we did. I know we did one for Frozen, and we do one for like Halloween.
Could have been.
We did either like a Halloween one or some kind of like horror movie one. But it's been at least like 2 years since we've done a double ep. It's been a while. It was something that we did when, closer to the pandemic times when we did Conjuring 1 and 2 together.
Damn.
I see on June 8th, 2021. And then that was followed by Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It, which we don't talk about.
Oh, yeah, that was bad.
A lot of reasons.
Yeah.
So that might have been the last double ep we've done. So it's been, if that is true, that's been almost what would that be? 3.5 years.
Yeah.
3 years, whatever it is. So it's been a while. But getting into it, we'll start off with Moana, the first one, of course. I need to bring up the IMDb because I actually only did Moana 2's IMDb. But Nathaniel, while I do that, can you give them listeners here a rundown of how our review segment works?
Hello, listeners. If you're new or if you've forgotten the way we do the rundown or the review segment here on Back Row Banter, it's split into 2 sections. And if you forget again, don't worry, because we'll do it twice. There's the non-spoiler section, then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the movie itself, who wrote it, who directed it, IMDb page. Go around and see what we think about the IMDb summary. Go around and see if we would recommend it for you. There is no nuance on the internet. And then it'll be spoiler time. If you want to have anything, if you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, skip over that. Any big plot twists or any of that good stuff, we'll cover there. And then we'll rank it up on our entropy list. If you don't want to have any spoilers, this is a good time to come back in. And our entropy list is where we watch everything, where we rank everything that we've watched on the podcast. With that being said, Adam, tell me about Moana.
I would love to. Moana 1 is not a new movie. This was released in 2016, which is 8 years ago at this point. You know what made me have like a wow, time's a, interesting, flat circle, weird conception thing. Star Trek Beyond, I found out, was in 2016. That feels way more recent than that. The third of that like Chris Pine Star Trek trilogy. That was 8 years ago, and that hurts to hear.
Fury Road feels more recent than that, and that's the year before.
Yeah, right. That one, when I saw that was 2016, I was like, "There's no way." But yeah, we'll see if we ever get that Tarantino Star Trek film that was rumored. That would be
nope.
Cool. But yeah, don't think so. Yeah, this is rated PG with a runtime of 1 hour and 47 minutes and an IMDb rating of 7.6 out of 10. It is directed by Ron Clements, John Musker, Don Hall, and Chris Williams. And it's written by Jared Bush with a whole bunch of story credits. There's like 7 on here, so I don't want to go through all those. The cast includes Alila Cravelo, I believe it's how you pronounce it, Dwayne Johnson, Rachel House, Tamira Morrison, and of course Jermaine Clement, who listeners might recognize from the show Flight of the Conchords, and is returning to the entry list. Anyone remember what he was in last? The answer is Avatar 2 Electric Boogaloo. Avatar 2 Way of Water. He is the like assistant researcher on the boat that hunts whales. If you guys remember, it was a kind of an odd role for him to take. But he's there. He ends up like saving one of the avatars or a whale or something like that. He does something heroic in the movie.
I do remember that.
Yeah, it was kind of like bizarre seeing him because it's like not usually a role you would see him in. And he might have, I feel like he's been on the pod at another point in time, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But rounding out the squad or the cast. I'm really struggling today. Nicole Scherzinger and Alan Tudyk is here, who has also been at the pod at some point. I can't remember when though. But that's our main cast. There's not a big cast here. There's actually only like 2 or 3 other like off-brand or like random voices that are credited here.
Off-brand.
Yeah. Again, I've had a long week. I don't know why I'm throwing out all these weird terms. But you know, off-brand. We'll go with that. Sorry if I offended any of those actors by calling them off-brand.
Generic actors.
Yeah.
Some of you
The
Aldi voice
IMDb
actors out there.
the IMDb summary reads as follows. In ancient Polynesia, when a terrible curse incurred by the demigod Maui reaches Moana's island, she answers the ocean's call to seek out Maui to set things right. It's a good summary. I like that. You know, gives you what you need to know, gives you some anticipation, something to look forward to, but doesn't reveal too much. You know, it's right where we want our IMDb summaries to be. Gentlemen, anyone's first watch here? Blake, have you seen this before? I don't remember if you said you hadn't or not.
I thought I've seen it before, but then once I started watching it, I don't think I have. And I was always thinking of, I don't want to be culturally insensitive, but it was Encanto is what I would always think of. And effectively, this is not Encanto. It's 2 drastically different ethnicities and racial identities and things of that nature. But ultimately, no, this is a first watch for me.
All right. First watch. What are we thinking here?
Honestly, man, I like it. And I guess before we dive into this, are we only talking about the first one right now, or are we just going back and forth? Okay,
we're just going to do the first one.
Okay, I like it. Overall, I mean, it's got as we know, there's always going to be an adult layered story in these types of films. And I'd love to see that in this. Aesthetically, it looks awesome. The Rock is a great casting for the role he has. I don't really think you could have found a better person to take on that role from a star-studded perspective, as well as just kind of the voice acting. Yeah, overall, I mean, it's. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I've always been fond of like trying to travel to that area of the globe, I guess is the best term I can put on it, where I've never been anywhere that's in the Pacific Islands area. And this immediately puts you kind of in that geography. So yeah, it's all in all, I recommend. I do like the Coconut guys. Heavy vibes with the Coconut guys, and they kind of redeem themselves in the second film. So we'll talk on that as well. But yeah, ultimately, I recommend. Is this my favorite Disney movie? Like, no, I can't go on that. I can't go that far, right? Is it the worst Disney movie I've seen? Absolutely not. It's, I would say, as expected, on par. And those are kind of my brief thoughts. I'll go to somebody else.
Anyone else's first watch? Ty, I know.
No, definitely not mine.
Definitely not you. Or Nathaniel just walked away, probably to go to the bathroom or something. I can ask him. Oh, I see him out of the corner.
Yours?
It is not mine. I have seen this at one point in time before this previous watch. I just can't really remember when. It was sometime in college. I don't have the specifics as to like when I watched it. Yeah, sometime early in college. So this is really only my second time watching it. And not necessarily a first watch, but like still didn't fully remember it. So definitely some things that I did like circle back to basically. But you know, this is not like my favorite Disney movie or anything like that, but is definitely very solid. I remember hearing a lot of hype around it when it came out and people talking about it so much. As like, you know, a standout Disney movie. And, you know, when I first saw it and watching it this time around again, I'm like, oh, I can definitely understand why people like this so much. You know, I think it does a lot, especially having a movie like this where it's, you know, Polynesian culture, Polynesian voice actors with The Rock and I'm sorry, I already forgot her name, Alila Crivello. But having them here and just kind of having a movie centered around that culture, I think is great, and I think they do a pretty good job. Um, yeah, I think the music in this one is really good too. There's songs that I'll still hear from time to time, just like in random
Yeah,
places that are
good point.
that are from this movie. Yeah, and as like a animated musical, obviously the music's going to be pretty important. Lin-Manuel Miranda makes an appearance on the soundtrack, um, which I've got a soft spot for Lin. He gets a lot of crap, understandably. I think he's kind of the Hamilton fatigue followed him around, or kind of haunted people a little bit after Hamilton came out and everything. So he kind of got a little bit of a little bit of shade for that. But I like Hamilton quite a bit, and so hearing him here was a welcome change. Or not, well, I guess not change, but was welcome for me, and I definitely had a good time with the music. Definitely a lot of good tracks in this one. I'm definitely recommend. I think it's worth your time. Is it my favorite Disney movie? No, probably not, but I think it's solid. And I think the animation's really good in this one. We'll have to talk about the animation in the second one when we get there. But I think the animation of this one's great. And I enjoy this movie. I think it's good.
Nathaniel?
Yeah, I like this movie. I saw it in theaters, I want to say, when it came out, and enjoyed it then. I think this was kind of at like the height of the Disney re-renaissance, maybe, where you were like 3 years removed from Frozen, maybe 6 or 7 years removed from Tangled at this point. You got The Rock, I think, kind of at the height of his everybody's buddy persona.
sure.
And
The Rockathon.
yeah, and you got like Lin-Manuel. I think like really at this point he's just coming off Hamilton. It's kind of before the Lin-Manuel fatigue, I feel like, had set in as well too. So there's a lot of like I feel cultural markers that are pushing this one along at the same time. And I think it's anchored by a good performance by Adam. How do you pronounce it again? It's Aaliyah.
Aaliyah Cavello or
Yeah.
Cravello.
That one. I'm gonna say that you're gonna pronounce it from now on for me. If we could just have our editor team just edit her, your voice in whenever I say it for you.
That's crazy, bro. That's actually
that's just
like borderline. That's borderline rude, bro. I am the editing team.
If you could just let our team of editors know, let the boys.
For sure. I'll let them know.
Let the boys in the truck figure that one out.
I got you. That's
wild. Anyways, I think she's really great in it as well too. And yeah, I mean, there's a world I think where like it's. Well, I point to I guess one thing that Waz was telling me was that like during lockdown, this one became like the most streamed movie on Disney Plus for a little bit as well too. And I do think that like speaks to its quality and like speaks to its like it's not one that I felt like had a ton of hype behind it, but has gone on to stick with people for a little bit and be, that strong performer over time. And maybe the way like some of the other ones have been forgotten. And maybe some other movies from around that time. But I think it's just, I think it's a solid entry and it's a good time. And it's one where like if I was hungover on a Saturday, there's worse things that you could do at the morning than like have a Gatorade, a breakfast sandwich, and throw on Moana.
For sure.
That's a great way to put it. What a ringing endorsement.
If the barometer is if I wake up in a movie theater and this movie is playing, do I leave the theater? I sit down and watch Moana.
Yeah, that's fair. I would
agree with that one. Yeah.
So
you recommend Nathaniel?
I'm a recommend.
Sounds like. All right. Ty, you're the one who recommended we do this double up here and get both Moanas on. What are you thinking over there?
Yeah, it's been a minute since we've done like an animated Disney, Pixar, Universal, whatever you want to call them, whoever's doing it, DreamWorks film. And so yeah, Moana for me, I was actually one of the ones that thought for sure that this was definitely part of the new age Disney kind of hype train. You're coming off the juggernaut that was Frozen. I still think that has, you know, a massive cult following, and
Sure.
I think this is a little bit smaller of a following, but it's still big, man. There's still a lot of people that gravitate towards these songs, towards these characters, towards the themes of the movie. Whether you're an adult or a kid, you know, it's definitely just one of those ones that I think really nailed a lot of things at a really good time, and yeah, I'm glad it's successful. It's definitely not my favorite, but there are definitely some songs, you know, that I'll definitely, you know, hum along to, or you know, sing along to, and I think it's a blast. I think the animation is on par. If you've listened to me talk about animation, one of the things that I really look at or gravitate towards is water, which this is primarily in. So that's fascinating to see how different animation styles do different elements, and yeah, it's a good story. Everybody does a phenomenal job through voice acting. But yeah, I'm a big recommend. Shout out to Rob, even though he doesn't listen to our podcast because he's an asshat.
Jerk.
But we love him, and
Do we?
yeah, you know we do. I do.
All right, that's fair. I'll follow your lead.
But this is one of his ones that this is like his top tier Disney
Oh, is this
animated
his like
movie.
Frozen
Yeah,
for you?
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, he's excited about it too. I don't know if him and his wife Kristen had seen it yet, but he has not seen Frozen 2 yet. So when they come up here for Christmas, we're planning on doing a Frozen 2 viewing at the house, because they're obviously going to want to come over
Nice.
and see the new place and stuff like that. So I hope that they go see it. I want his review on it, on if he prefers the first one or the second one. It'll be interesting to see what he thinks. But overall, I'm a big fan of Moana. And yeah, I think you will have fun watching it if you haven't seen it, and if you have seen it, then you know. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Spoilers.
Recommends all around here, it sounds like. So we're gonna go ahead and head into spoilers for Moana 1. And if you have not seen the movie, well, you could probably just skip. I'll give like give a timestamp for like non-spoilers for Moana 2. You can skip to that one. And then we'll also, of course, have a timestamp below if you want to just skip to our rankings. We'll have that for the end. But yeah, spoilers for Moana 1. If you've not seen it, check the episode description. We'll have some timestamps for you. Yeah, spoiler time, Nathaniel.
Spoilers.
Shit goes down.
A ship goes down.
Ship goes down. Love that. Love that. Need to watch.
Tefiti's heart goes down.
Tefiti. The heart of Tefiti. Where we
Doesn't
at,
really go
boys?
down. Just goes lost and found.
No, yeah. I mean, so yeah, Moana's a special girl that the ocean really likes, and she's chosen to be the leader or the wayfinder of her people that needs to, because they are seafaring people. And she goes out there, she grabs Maui. They're gonna go give the heart of Tefiti back against Teka, I think it was.
Yep.
And then wouldn't you know it, Teka is Tefiti, but Moana, through the power of friendship, gets her to calm down, and they hang out, and then everyone lives happily ever after, and they travel some more.
So can someone define to me what a demigod is?
Part
They
god, part
are-
human.
They are typically the son of a god when that god has a child with a human.
Okay.
Or daughter.
Or daughter. I was just about to say or daughter. But yes, the child of a god
And a
usually it's
human
the
hybrid.
offspring between a god and a human. Yeah.
Okay.
So Hercules is a demigod.
Hercules.
Achilles.
Trying to think of some
Percy
other examples.
Jackson.
Percy Jackson's demigod. All those characters are demigods. So yeah.
was gonna say Maui. Maui is definitely the other one, the other
Yep.
big one. Paul Bunyan.
Wait, is Paul Bunyan really a demigod?
Johnny Appleseed. Gods of America.
But
Yeah, I
they
was gonna
typically have godlike powers, but they're
Abraham
not
Lincoln.
like immortal like gods.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
for sure. Thank you,
when-
Tyler,
when-
for giving
yeah.
me a real answer.
Yeah.
When demigods reach the age of 18, since they're not quite fully immortal, they're kind of also human. They have the option of either living 10,000 more years or 60 more days.
Yeah.
That's a
move-
joke that will really hit for the listeners in post pod. So like, just wait, and you guys are gonna like think back to it, and you guys are gonna laugh really hard.
That's when they graduate from a demigod to a semigod.
It's the same stem, but so it's interchangeable. But that for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so then to the movie then. I mean, yeah, and we're aware of. I apologies, I forgot the Rock's character's name.
Maui.
The
Maui.
demigod. Maui. Thank you. He's able to shapeshift through this, like basically like a sickle. He has
Yeah, it's technically a fish hook.
fish hook. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just big as fuck.
Mm-hmm. And I guess my question is, did they introduce limitations on what he can shapeshift into? Is it only like, for example, is it only creatures that can naturally be found in that ecosystem? Because
don't
it's like,
think
why
so.
doesn't he
They-
just transform to something massive?
Yeah,
fight
they
with him.
never say specifically, but you only do see his set form of like 5 things.
Yeah, I think it's also kind of like folklore based. So it's
Okay.
almost like there's no rhyme or reason. It's not a thought out like power scaling type thing that he's going to turn into these 5 things. I think it's more like we have these 5 stories in which he turns into this in each one of them. So like we'll take each one of those as a thing that he can do or something.
Shark head.
Yeah. Which I mean, I want
That was pretty funny.
The
though.
Rock is great in this. Like they totally like I feel like this is a great encapsulation of like both the Rock's like like pros and his cons. Like he is really good at this at this version of this character and is like has good comedic timing with it, has a nice tone to it, like acts really well within it. But I feel like it's also the movie itself is also really good at like not giving him something that's going to like push him too far outside of his comfort zone to where he's like kind of not hitting the right spaces. And that's something that like the movie does really intelligently overall. Which maybe doesn't come through as great in the second one. We'll see. Bit of sizzle. But yeah, I enjoy this movie a lot. Like it's just one that I feel like is anytime someone's like I'll throw on Moana, I'm down.
Yeah. No, I think anytime you start with like an original idea with one of these animated stories, you really get to know the characters, you get to understand their motivations, you get to understand, why they are the way they are, and you start to build a better relationship with them. And inevitably the cast is significantly smaller because you don't want to break off too many parts. And so I think that's where the first one is definitely stronger, and we'll obviously get into the second one a little bit later. But yeah, you get a much more solid piece of filmmaking in that sense, and I think that's where the first one is really strong. You really do get to see a lot of the pros of seeing The Rock in that kind of lens. And he does a really great job. I think the songs are all really good. I think I don't know which one's my favorite out of these. I guess like most people would say You're Welcome is probably like the biggest one.
I like How Far I'll Go as like a banger anthem. I think it's up there with
Yeah.
Let It Go.
Let It Go.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely the other one. I think the sleeper song of this is the one where with the crab.
Yeah, facts. That's
my
what
favorite.
that's what I'm rolling
So
with. Ty.
Yeah.
That's the one.
That's my favorite.
That's the one where I feel like as soon as they get to that part, like this movie slams to a halt. Like I feel like everything's like flowing good up to there, and then the "I'm Shiny" song, I'm just like, this is 3 minutes where I'm feeling like I'm just sitting here waiting for this to be over.
I think that's where a lot of people are on like some early viewings, but after watching it so many times, I think it's really just growing on me. And I can't remember the guy's name, but he has
Jermaine.
he's got a musical background.
Oh no, yeah,
yeah.
he's great. Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah, and
He's
so
fantastic.
it was really great to see him in that element from an animated standpoint too, and so yeah, he made it a lot of fun for me for that. That's kind of my sleeper pick for songs.
I just have a soft spot for Jermaine. So and I forgot he was in this movie until he started singing, and I was like, oh yeah.
Have you seen
so
What We Do in the Shadows, the original
yes.
one? Yeah.
Oh well, the like Hulu TV show.
No, the movie.
Or, no. Oh, you know what? I haven't seen the movie. That's
'Cause-
with Taika Waititi, right?
And
He directs it?
Jermaine.
Yeah, no, I know he's in that one.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I've not seen that one.
Okay.
I do need to go check that out because I've seen the Hulu show and that's pretty good. But yeah, I do need to go see that movie because I've heard that's good as well. What is the side note? What is the other guy from Flight of the Conchords up to? Anyone know?
I don't.
No idea.
Maybe he just like was happy.
Probably. Anyway, yeah, I was gonna ask favorite songs, but we obviously already went over that. Yeah, but some of Blake mentioned the non-spoilers. How do you guys feel about like the adult kind of message or viewing experience of this movie, as we've kind of talked about? Super Mario Bros comes to mind, where we kind of talked about how like we've kind of gotten to a point with a lot of kids movies where it's like they're made for kids, but there's entertainment value there for adults or parents to also have enjoyment from these films or get something out of it. Do you guys feel like that's present here?
Yeah, I think they're smart. They know kids can't go see these movies without adults, and so they have to keep the adults somewhat entertained. And so yeah, I think 100% that they know exactly what they're doing. And you see it again in the second one that we'll talk about. But yeah, it's just you have these themes that even if like it's not necessarily geared towards the parents are at least somewhere down the line, or they're like, oh yeah, that is a good lesson to teach my kid. So like I'm okay with them, learning that or singing that song or anything like that. So I think they're very smart in what they do. They know exactly what they're doing.
I think this one's pretty good on that level as well too. I think it's pretty inoffensive. It's not really taking like too big of a stand, is it, one way or another?
No.
But I do think the grandma character is like obviously awesome, and she's got a cool,
So great.
overall kind of stance in manta rays rule. So
I was gonna say that is the other thing that I think is very cool throughout these is the spirit animals.
yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely down for manta spirit animal, and then the new one's like a big whale shark kind of thing, isn't it? Bit of sizzle.
Shut up. We're not fucking there yet.
Bit of sizzle.
Timestamp it. Take it out. Son of a bitch.
Editing team.
Editing team.
Get on it. The boys in the bay. If you could take care of that for us, thank you.
Boy, singular, and it's me.
Boys and girls in the bay. I assume Adam's girlfriend helps with the edit nowadays. Thank you.
Nope. No, she's not. Doesn't know a lick about editing.
What would her name be? What's the female version of Noah? Noessa?
Nolina.
Nolina. Nolina's currently
Nadine.
Nadine? Naomi?
Naomi. We'll go with Naomi.
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 Okay. Do we have any? We obviously got another movie to review here. Do we have any other Moana 1 thoughts?
No, I think it's pretty good. I think it's solid.
Yeah, no,
Right?
I think this is definitely one of the better ones that has come out over the last 5 or almost a decade now.
Don't say that.
Sheesh.
But yeah, no, I like I said, I think this one kills. I think it was one that a lot of people didn't think was going to be on their radar as one of their favorites, and I think you slowly start to realize that it definitely is.
Yeah.
So drum roll, Moana 2.
Yeah. Welcome back, listeners who skipped over Moana 1 spoilers, if that is any of you listening there. Let's do intro to Moana 2. Nathaniel, if listener here is new, I'm just kidding.
You've got it. Figure it out. Either listen or
Moana
don't.
2 is a new movie, released this year, of course, rated PG with a runtime of 1 hour and 40 minutes and an IMDb rating of 7.1 out of 10. Let's see this cast and crew here. Directed by David G. Derrick Jr., Jason Hand, and Dana Ledoux Miller. The writing credits go to Jared Bush and Dana Ledoux Miller, with some story credits as well. Most of the same cast is coming back here. We got Aaliyah Cravello, Dwayne Johnson, Hualele Chung. I don't know exactly. Rose Matafio, David Fain, and I think Uime Frazier, Khaleesi Lambert Tusuda, and we'll go Tamara Morrison. I think that's probably where I'll stop. Alan Tudyk and Jermaine Clement do return here. But yeah, that's most of the cast on Moana 2. The IMDb summary for Moana 2 reads as follows. After receiving an unexpected call from her wayfinding ancestors, Moana must journey to the far seas of Oceania and into dangerous, long-lost waters of an adventure unlike anything she's ever faced. They make it sound like this is like the last bit of that, unlike anything she's ever faced, makes it sound like this is like season 7 episode 8. Like we've seen her travel across all 5 oceans around the world. and yeah, like we've seen her do a ton. All right, new first watch for everybody here. Thoughts here, ladies and gentlemen. I'll kick it over to Ty first as our kind of resident, probably biggest fan of Moana. Moana 1. What are you feeling here on Moana 2?
I thought they did a pretty good job. I do like quite a few of the songs in this. I like that they gave some of the other characters from the first ones, Coconut People, a little bit more
Facts.
time in the light, which was very cool. You get to kind of see a little bit more because again, we've talked about this before. Anytime you get like the first movie instead of a trilogy or a set of 2, you always find yourself asking, like, well, I do want to know more about that, or like, I do want to know more about that person's story. And so I think that was one of those characters that you were like, but like, where do they come from? Why are they just floating around? And do they talk, or how they communicate? And so I thought that was pretty cool that they gave them kind of their 20 minutes of fame versus 5 minutes of fame from the first one. Still kind of get the same premise. It's not really like anything she's never faced before. It's kind of the exact same thing she's faced before.
Gotta go to a place to do a thing, face a weather god. Normal Wednesday in Moana's world.
But yeah, no, I don't overly care. I think like they really kind of maybe could have done without The Rock in this one. I think, you know, in the first one you either
A Too Fast, Too Furious situation.
yeah. In the first one you got a lot of him. In the second one you know you kind of get like this in between, and I think you either get a lot of him or you don't really get any of him, and this was kind of like a weird awkward in between where it didn't really kind of seem like he was there, but he was kind of there. And even like some of the lines were kind of, you know, The Rock maybe wanting to be there that day and not wanting to be there. He just didn't seem as invested in the second one as he did the first one. But overall I think it was good. I think this still has some really good, strong themes that, you know, parents can feel comfortable with their kids being instilled in them, and wanting to bring people together regardless of their culture, and, you know, things like that. And so I think that kind of stuff is really important. And yeah, so I'm still recommend. I think this is maybe one of those ones that you don't necessarily have to see in theaters. I think the first one definitely was one of those ones where it does it a little bit more justice seeing it on the big screen. But as we were talking about earlier, this thing crushed over the weekend. And so I'm glad people went to go see them in theaters. So, but I'm a recommend. And yeah, I'm down for Moana 3 maybe someday.
I feel like after this, we're definitely getting Moana 3.
Yeah, I mean, once we figure out what the box office numbers does, I feel like it's almost a guarantee.
Do we think this is going to match what Inside Out did? Inside Out 2.
No.
Okay. Hey, I was just curious because Adam obviously brought up earlier this was a crazy box office weekend, right, for the holiday. This is one of those that's heading that. And we know Inside Out 2 did ridiculous numbers. So I was just curious on where we're at with that. Moving to the movie, I mean, it's effectively, I like Moana more than Moana 2, for sure. That being said, though, I caught Nathaniel mimicking the I don't even know the exact name of them, but the coconut people.
Yeah.
And Nathaniel was mimicking their warrior chest beating, I guess is the correct term.
Salute.
Yeah, and that's funny because as they were doing it, so I saw this, for starters, I want to say Tuesday afternoon.
Okay.
I had a half day of work, and so I watched it. I went to the theater by myself to watch. There's no one else in there. And I caught myself mimicking them as they were doing that in the theater. So, yeah, man. Great characters. If there is a Moana 3, wherever they at, these guys need a larger role. Kakamori. These guys need a larger role.
Or Kakamora, sorry.
And they essentially go from being like one of the villains in the first one to the second one just being like, hey, man, we were just wronged. We're just trying to get our land back. And if you help us, we'll help you. And you can always commend people like that. So, yeah. Overall, though, I mean, I think I like the first one more. There's more memorable songs in the first one. I think the story's a little more fleshed out. I feel like you're watching, as Nathaniel said, you're watching the main, you're watching the protagonist go through. Essentially, seems like the same scenario, just all over again. You traverse the water to go to a location to fight a large entity, and nothing wrong with it, but the first one hit that niche for me.
This one weirdly made me think of One Piece. Oh.
That's awesome.
With like
Okay.
we need to go to the location where like all of the oceans come together, and then like you
For
have like the
sure.
different people from different areas kind of thing. And I just like halfway through, I just had this image of Whitebeard being like, the One Piece is real. And like, it's like, wow, this just feels like One Piece, but it almost would be cooler. But I think it was, I don't know, I had a good time with it. I think what everyone has said is 100% true. Definitely the songs are not as good. Definitely no one feels as locked in. I know that people said that it was supposed to go direct to Disney Plus as a show originally.
Yeah, it
And
was
like,
interesting.
you can definitely feel where those like episode moments are supposed to end. And there are things like, even I noticed, like there's a bit early on at the start where she falls off of a cliff and then like it cuts immediately to her tangled up in vines. And like, I just feel like in the first one, they would animate the character falling off the cliff and then like dropping 2 levels into vines and get tangled up. But it's like a cheap, quick workaround to just have
Mhm.
the 1-2 montage like split thing. And I
Well-
feel like there's a lot of moments of that in the movie where you feel like they might be cutting those corners and that kind of thing.
I'll tell you what corners they cut, Nathaniel. They outsourced the animation to a studio in Canada,
Well, there you go.
a non-union studio. Yes, there was a bit of controversy behind that. Obviously, that wasn't really widely talked about as much as it probably should have been. But yes, at least from my understanding, a majority of the animation here was outsourced
well, there you
outside of
go.
Disney, which explains why they seems like they cut some corners, because they definitely did. And I don't think it's even it stops as like odd cuts and like weird animation editing or whatever it is. Like the facial expressions are weird in this one. I don't know if you
They
guys
don't
noticed that. There was
seem-
something that was kind of bothered me. They were not very animated, and there wasn't a lot of
Yeah, they do
dynamic
seem a little bit
movement.
more wooden.
Yeah, very stiff facial features and stuff.
They were
so,
different
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and just the overall animation. Like I've got Moana 1 on in the background, and like I can't believe how good this one looks. And then like trying to think to
Well,
like
again,
what Moana
like,
2 looked like. It's just crazy.
If it was originally built for streaming and then they like adapted it to a movie, like I wonder how much of it was already animated before they made that decision, kind of thing. And like, are they
don't
like
know.
trying to make something out of what was something else and like adding to it? And then maybe like, even to Tyler's point, maybe the original series didn't have The Rock featured very much. And then
Maybe.
they kind of had to adapt around that. I don't know. Let's get into spoilers so that we can talk a little bit more, because this one does kind of, I guess, have a spoiler-y plot to it. We said, you have kind of the same storyline, but the reason why they're all getting together and like what's going
Hold
on.
on.
is
Let
in
me
there? Is it a
hold
little
on.
bit
Hold on.
different?
Hold on.
Sorry. Okay.
Hold on. Yeah. First of all, I'll get my quick thoughts out there. I was not a huge fan of this one overall,
Wow.
for various reasons. Music's not as good. Animation's not as good. I thought the story was pretty weak overall, and I think this is a bad example of a movie that is good for kids and adults. I don't think there was a lot here for me to grab onto, and the plot felt very hey, we're just gonna go here, and hey, this guy just kind of knows all of the ancient myths, so he's gonna tell us everything we need to know, and he's gonna guide the plot. And like, I don't know, it's a kids movie at the end of the day, so I can't like personally be like, oh, that's terrible for them to do, because it's not made for me. I'm not the primary audience here, but it's disappointing because, as we've talked about, kids movies these days also, ones that are done well also have that in mind, that adults are going to want to watch this and have some enjoyment to get out of it. To me, there wasn't much there. Coconut people are great. I do love the kind of like expanded cast we got with the coconut people, especially like the kung fu coconut ninja John Wick guy. He was hilarious. I agree with Blake. I will really liked their like little war salute. I thought the expanded cast of like immediate characters that we spend time with is pretty cool. It's not just Moana on this seafaring adventure. They've got, I don't even know how many, 4 or 5 people with her. I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah, they were fun.
But yeah, but overall, I was not really a fan of this movie. Not even close to the quality of Moana 1 in almost every way. And so I came away pretty disappointed. But I'm probably like a not recommend, honestly. I didn't love this movie. But yeah, we'll get into spoilers so we can talk more about everything. So if you've not seen Moana 2 and do not want it spoiled for you, you can go ahead and check the episode description, or you'll be taken to the ranking of both movies up upon our entry list. Spoiler time, Nathaniel. And take it away. What were you saying?
Spoilers. Yeah, what was I saying? I was saying that I do feel like you can tell where the episode beats are in this one, and like it does feel a little bit more cobbled together. I don't know. Maybe there's a part of me that's like nostalgic, I think, for the like direct to TV sequel or direct to VHS sequel that Disney used to do in like the 90s, because that's kind of what this feels like, where they're like, hey, we have a concept, it's not quite as good as the first one, but it's got your characters back, and maybe there's a couple new weird side characters that we'll introduce too. Like, I do feel like that's what almost the crew represents. But I don't know. I like the Bat Lady. She was fun. I like the kind of mid twist that she's not the real villain, I suppose. Like, it moves some stuff forward. Don't think the Maui song is as good. Or the kind of main Moana song as well too. But I did like the kind of like flashbacks with the more like past tribe stuff. That stuff's always really cool. I always like when to what Tyler was saying earlier, the sea creatures show up and are like the ancestors, and I always love when you get like the ghost visions of like the past ancestors in there as well too.
I mean, obviously you see what her grandmother is in the first one, but when you see this other gentleman who was the other wayfinder before her is a whale shark, I was like, yo, that's dope.
Yeah. Like ideally you want one of those, right? You don't want to be like a sea cucumber or something.
For sure, yeah. A mollusk.
Yeah. You want something kind of large and noble. But
yeah, no, I agree with the Maui song too. It just like in the first one, all his songs felt like they were
say what you will about
super motivational to her, or drove the story. This one just kind of felt like it was just like there to just be there, to just give The Rock a song.
Say what you will about Lin-Manuel Miranda, but I mean, he does write catchy shit.
He was missed in this one. I felt that way in the middle of the movie. I kind of checked out, not necessarily of the movie, but definitely checked out of the songs when like she's on that island and she's like trying to face the challenge of like leaving or whatever, and she goes, "I am Moana," and I'm like, oh my god, I don't. This is not great. This is and there's another song following that has like a similar kind of trope in it. But yeah, that's when I was like, I miss Lynn. Where's he at? And also I remember I saw somewhere online, or maybe it was I think it was Waz or Joe saying how like in the first one, Moana's, like, hey, like, let me go. Like, I want to go beyond the reef. Like, I want to explore. And then in this one, she had to like find the courage to go and explore for whatever reason. Kind of like a, character switch up. So felt that was interesting and a good point to bring up. Yeah, man, I don't know. This one just did not hit for me.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was fine. If I woke up in the theater and I was watching it, would I be sticking around for the end? Maybe depends on how far into it I am. But I think I'd definitely rather watch the first one.
Yeah, if all things go as planned, I don't think I'll ever watch Moana 2 again.
But will you watch Moana 3?
I mean, probably for this podcast, sure. But it'll probably be like AI generated by the time it comes out. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll probably see Moana 3. But am I clamoring for another one of these? No, not really. Do I really hope Disney doesn't outsource again to a different country so they can avoid paying union labor. Yeah, I really hope that doesn't happen. But hey, capitalism, as we were talking about pre-pod.
You said hey, like hey,
Hey.
the chicken.
Oh, is that the chicken's name?
Yeah, boat snack.
Some good comedy in this one, I will say. Did have me
that's
laughing
true.
a bit. Did
Yeah.
have some good jokes, some good, quips and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. I liked her little sister.
I did like
She
that
was-
relationship a lot.
Yeah, I think that was pretty cool for them to show like her growth, not just like obviously making her character look older, but showing the fact that she doesn't obviously want to be chief, so they make up, not make up, because this is obviously the lure of the Polynesian people, but they have the Wayfinder, and then so now they kind of progress her being older and more mature, and also giving her the role of being a big sister, which was pretty cool.
Sure.
Obviously me having little sisters, that's a cool outlook to have. And then
Right.
the joke that Maui makes at the end, where he throws the hook to the three girls and he calls them Moana bees, and I was like, oh, that's funny. So
Yeah,
I was like, all right, that's good. So they definitely did have some stuff in here that definitely made you laugh, but yeah, I think just falls a little short from the first one.
Yeah, it definitely does. Glad we can agree on that. All right. Well, any other big takeaways from Moana 2? Too fast, too blue. Nope. Cool. All right. Well, then let's get out spoilers for Moana 2 and into our ranking segment here. So welcome back, any listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and throw up Moana 2 and Moana up upon our Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of all the movies we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. It's essentially how we rate our movies, rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is. We throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you want to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd.
Letterboxd.
All right.
It's tough.
Yes, we got Frozen 1 is where? Frozen. Damar to Frozen. Where are you?
97.
97 is Frozen 2.
Oh,
Frozen
sorry.
1 is at
Good catch.
125. Wait, when did Frozen 2 get above Frozen?
Always been like that.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just my personal rankings where I still have Frozen 1 above Frozen 2. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought most people were under the general consensus that 2 was better than 1.
I haven't
Which
seen
doesn't
either
happen a lot.
since we've reviewed. So I would have to maybe go rewatch those. Because I've only seen 2 one time.
I'm lost in the woods.
It's a good song.
I
Which-
am frozen. I love that line in that one.
Which I would say, like, Frozen 2 does have probably better songs than Moana 2.
It absolutely does.
For sure, dude. The fact that 2 has absolute bangers on it, and 1 obviously has it's just jam packed full of songs. And Moana 1 was like so good from a musical standpoint, and then the second one just completely falls on its face. Just shows you right away. It also shows you how important the song aspects of these movies are.
Okay, I got a spot.
Do it.
Moana 1, 109. Below Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, and above Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Not a bad spot.
That would
Let's
also put it
do-
above Soul, but that would put it below Frozen 2. That would put it above Frozen 1.
Let's just rank Moana 1 for now. So don't have to give us a
Okay.
ranking on 2. We'll do one at a time.
Yeah, that's a solid ranking from Nathaniel.
Yeah.
I was kind of bad. I'm like, okay, I saw Frozen 2. I do like this more than the first Frozen, and then I thought Soul, and I was like, ooh, I do like Soul. Shout out the surfer
Do you
guy.
like Soul?
Shout out the surfer
But
guy.
I think I'm gonna agree with Nathaniel and place it in the same spot. I think that's an accurate placing for Moana 1.
Valid. So 2 109s. Ty, you got your spot?
I'm struggling a bit.
I am not. I feel pretty good about putting Moana 1 at 126 or sorry, 125, just above Frozen and below The Strangers. I think The Strangers has sank a little too low. That's like my descent. Where like I look at The Strangers and I'm like, that's kind of like a benchmark for me a little bit. I really like that movie. Um, and you got Twisters, which is fun. Halloween, like I feel like it's in good company. Gladiator 2, which we talked last week, we kind of enjoy. And there's some movies below that are obviously pretty good. So yeah, I think that's a good spot, and I do enjoy Moana probably more than Frozen personally. So yeah, I think just one spot above Frozen will be a good spot for me for Moana 1. Sorry if it's a bit lower than you guys would like it to be, but not my favorite Disney movie or like animated movie.
I would just like to go on record that I obviously will take Frozen over Moana. I think anybody that knows me knows that. So
Yeah.
I don't have to argue too much for that. And obviously, with your guys' average of rankings, it's going to get placed above Frozen anyways, unless I completely murder this thing, which I'm not going to do on purpose because I don't think it's deserved. I was struggling a lot because you guys are at 109. Soul for me is really hard to get past. Soul was just an absolutely remarkable movie about life, and
Yeah.
and it was just iconic.
Yeah.
Some people would call it the animated 9 days.
For sure.
It's a very niche
Good point.
reference. I don't think not enough people have seen that movie.
No, but it's real.
Oh, it's so good.
So Soul is really hard for me to get past. A Quiet Place is hard for me to get past. So I'm gonna split up some horror stuff here, even though I know it's not gonna end up going here. But I'm gonna go at 120, just below X, and above the Menu, which I think was ranked a little too high, but.
Lower than I expected, for sure. But a fair enough ranking nonetheless. That gives us an average rating of a 115.75 for Moana 1, meaning we'll put it at 116, which is below. Sorry, I got to move up there. That's below The Fall Guy and above Maxine. Or wait, am I tweaking? No, it's below American Gangster, above The Fall Guy. There we go. Good spot for that one, I think. Especially when you consider the company it's around. I mean, Fall Guy is a great movie, American Gangster is a great movie, Blair Witch Project's right there. Yeah, I think a very solid spot. That does and landed above Frozen at the end of the day. So take that for what you will. Moana 2 here, gents, probably going below the 116 mark, and after hearing our thoughts on that. Where are we feeling? Blake and Nathaniel, you guys have had the most time to think about your rankings, so let me know if you guys have picked one out.
Yeah. Moana 2. I don't want to nuke it, fellas, and this may be a hot take, but I think I'm going to go 154.
That's actually a little higher than I was originally. As long as it's above Lightyear, I'm cool with it.
That was
For sure. For sure. That was my baseline.
That was my thing as well too. Is that I originally was like, well, like forgetting Sarah Marshall maybe, or like even like the Napoleon Dynamites of the world. But then I was like Lightyear. Like I like
Lightyear's
I like
not
Lightyear.
good.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Probably 160. Above Army of the Dead, below Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Okay. So I'm more on par than I thought.
I'll be at one. I'll be at 157, below Blind Spotting. I can't stand Men. I think Ferrari is ridiculously forgettable.
I almost forgot
actually-
to watch that movie, to be
Yeah,
fair.
dude. So Straight Outta Compton, I love. Paranormal Activity, I love. Voyage Last Meter, I actually would totally rewatch.
Ooh, I don't know about that one.
I love vampires and I
Yeah,
love
that's true.
boats. So
Got a solid vampire flick coming out in a few weeks for you, brother.
Nosferatu, baby.
What was your ranking again, Ty? 157?
Yeah.
Adam?
Did Nathaniel, did you go yet? I can go.
Yes,
but
I did.
what did you put it at?
I had it at 160, below Afterlife, above Army of the Dead.
So 160, 157. Blake, did you go? I'm sorry.
Yes, I did.
How did I miss these? All right, 160, 157.
I did 154. So below
160.
Straight Outta Compton, above Last Voyage of the Demeter.
I'm sorry. I was trying to find my ranking that I forgot
All
to
good.
put you guys is down. I really feel bad, but I'm probably about to nuke this thing pretty far down. Forgetting Sarah Marshall needs to get moved.
Yeah, that is funny.
That movie.
We just need
it's a
more
good movie.
comedy so we can put
Yeah,
context around it.
It's just hard to review comedy other than saying
Yeah.
that was funny.
Yeah, right.
So it's hard to do reviews for those movies. So I agree with you, but that one might be one of those ones that we need to move up because it's a good movie. So I'm gonna ignore Forgetting Sarah Marshall because that's the only one that's kind of giving me a big pause. King Richard I think is maybe a little low, but don't I'm not gonna die on that hill. Yeah, I'll slot this at 170. 170
Ooh.
below Godzilla versus Kong and above Renfield. Renfield to me kind of forgettable. That's kind of where, besides there's a few
Yeah.
movies that I like below that, but that's kind of where it's kind of the whatever starts. And Godzilla vs Kong also pretty whatever, and the movies above that aren't fantastic, but I look at Godzilla vs Kong, I'm like, I'd watch that before I watch Moana 2 10 out of 10 times. So
Hard
that's
to
my
argue with
rationale
that.
there. Yeah. It's like Nathaniel's analogy always says, if I woke up in a theater and had to pick between one of these two or both these were playing, or both those movies were playing, I'm watching Godzilla v Kong. At least get some kind of entertainment. Watching, what was the Skull King name? I forgot the guy's name. But anyway, our average rating there then gives us 160.25, meaning we'll slot it at 161, right below Ghostbusters Afterlife and above Army of the Dead, which I feel like is a pretty good spot relative to the quality of the movie here.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just above Lightyear, which I think we would
Yeah.
all agree this is the better film
Yep.
compared to Lightyear. I'll
Yeah.
probably never watch Lightyear ever again.
Yeah, probably not.
No.
Not when I can go watch 4 different Toy Story films. You know what I mean? There's just
Yeah.
no chance I'm watching that.
Such a good point. Well, there you have it. Moana 1 and 2 ranked double up on the board. We are one step closer to lining up the episode numbers to the number of movies we have reviewed. He's of course got skewed early on with episodes being titled that didn't have reviews in them. Whatever it is. We have now 212 movies on the Entropy list, fellas. Quite a bit of movies.
Yayo.
Pushing for that 300.
Yes, sir. But there you have it. Moana's are up and ranked. Reviews for next week will be where is it? I thought I had put it on. Anyway, it's Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, this is rounding out our David Fincher little
And then we're doing Nathaniel's really quick after
discography.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And then
Then it's
Then
Gone
Nosferatu?
Girl on Christmas. for the
did we
Christmas
decide
set.
on that?
That's what we have on the schedule right now. We
Oh,
can change it.
I'm down with that.
But
We were
just
I'm
gonna
down with that,
continue
but we're
David
gonna go.
Fincher.
We're probably gonna go see Mufasa for our Christmas movie.
Why don't we get Lord of the Rings animated movie on here instead of Gone Girl?
Dude.
We can discuss
Yeah,
this
whatever
after
you guys
pod.
wanna do.
We'll keep Gone Girl on the short list potentially, but we'll discuss this later. Anyway, all you listeners need to know is that next week's review is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. We'll figure out the weeks following on our end, but that's all you have to worry about. That is currently streaming as of today, December 5th. That is currently streaming on HBO Max, but my little service that tells me where things are streaming says it's leaving at the end of the month. So if you're watching this in the new year, you're probably gonna have to find another place to watch that. But it's on Max as of right now, so you can watch it there. And then you can join us for our review next week. Fellas, I think we're hitting the 120 mark on episode time. I think we're at a good spot to call it quits here. We've got some good pre-pod / after credits banter to slide in here at the end, and that'll get us right at that 90-minute mark just about. So let's head on out of here. Of course, please share the podcast, share it with a friend, a family member, maybe a demigod or two that you know. That always helps spread the word of the podcast. And anything you can do to help us grow is really appreciated. While you're doing that, you can also follow us on Twitter, Banter Row, Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and our YouTube is just Back Row Banter. Please go subscribe to us there, even if it's not your primary place of listening. Nathaniel Gingrich, where can the people find you at, my man?
They can always find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Gingrich. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. And my other podcast is the Sandpiper Tapes. Tyler, where can they find you?
Find me on Instagram, Letterboxd, and X, all at Tyler Vidalis, Vidales. Blake.
Letterboxd, the BlakeHolder, be on there and log some things, rate them out of 5 stars. PSN, Xbox Live, Mr. Watercoolers, and Instagram, Mr. Watercoolers. Am I last or Adam?
I think I'm last.
Yeah,
You
Adam?
can find me on Twitter at H24 and on the Letterboxd at H. That's going to do it here for episode 215 of Back Row Banter. Thank you all for listening, especially if you made it this far into the episode. You're my favorite type of listener. We really do appreciate it. Join us for our review of The Girl and the Dragon Tattoo next week. We'll be RB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we'll be RB.
We're not doing that anymore, but we'll be
Yeah,
RB.
it's literally 100 episodes ago, but for sure.
You know,
Wow.
we can cut it whenever we want.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Yeah, I was gonna say here's one I came across on Reddit the other day. Now that we're on this path of everything is slowly decaying us either way. 2 options, you have to pick one. You can't take the cheap option out. It's one, essentially you die in 60 days, or you essentially are becoming immortal because your lifespan is 10,000 years. You cannot die to the 10,000 years pass.
But like, do you just rot? Like you?
No, so like you're at age 31, right? You're just this for 10,000 years. Any sickness, you'll heal from it. Accidents, you'll heal from it.
But does my brain rot?
No.
So I stay looking 31. My body stays in the condition of a 31-year-old, but I just live for 10,000 years.
Yeah.
Like I am Leto Atreides II from Dune 2.
You're sick.
Sorry, actually, he's not in those movies. That's that's later down the line. That's
But
the third
yes,
book.
in essence,
you guys will get there.
Yeah, in essence, you're immortal for, let's call it 10,000 years.
Or you die in
Yeah.
60
No,
days.
Or you die in 60 days.
That's a great question.
Pick
I
the
know my answer.
immortality.
immediately.
I lean towards the immortality, but that does sound pretty awful. Because imagine,
I'm taking the 60 days, brother.
because okay,
sounds so
like
bad.
how immortal am I? Like, can I get nuked and still survive? Because like, imagine the world ends in nuclear war, and you were just now the last person on Earth,
See,
and you
I
have
don't know.
no one to interact with for 10,000 more, or
That's where my
9,000
brain
years,
goes,
whatever it
Adam.
is.
Where it's like, I don't know. You may end up being the last
yeah.
human alive.
Or it's that.
Oh, I thought this was like a collective, like everybody on Earth has to make this decision.
Oh,
No,
we're
this
all
is,
in this together. We're all
well,
in
that's
this.
actually
that gets
another
really
different one.
interesting. Though.
Yeah, but more so specific to yourself. It's like, ooh, I don't know, man.
Oh, so you're like, you guys are concerned not so much that like that there'll be some sort of nuclear event and you'll be the only one left, or like you're the second ice age will come in and you'll be just
Yeah, it's
stuck
it's
underwater kind of thing.
It's kind of twofold. It's like a natural disaster event that wipes away human population,
Right.
and then also just me knowing that I feel like I could never build a meaningful relationship with a human ever again, or at least not for 10,000 years, because everybody you meet is going to end up dying, and it's tough. I feel like you'd eventually become numb to trying to create relationships and friendships and bond with people.
Yeah.
On the
People would
bright
be,
side,
But like at least you get like a full lifetime to do that before you go crazy. And then
there's that, but then you finally have time to watch all the TVs and movies that you've been
This is
missing
true.
out on. You got a lot of time.
I mean, you're not
to
gonna remember
catch
any
up
of
on
it.
that backlog. You can 100% a lot of video games.
If I get 10,000 years with my wife, I think I'm pretty happy.
Aw.
That's the right answer. Absolutely.
Yeah, I still think I'd be tempted by the 10,000 year shit thing too.
Oh, so maybe I'm just morbid then, fellas. Is that kind of what we're saying?
No,
No, I don't
because,
think you're
like,
crazy. I don't think you're crazy at all for taking.
You're not
60.
crazy
Yeah,
because
I think there's a
it's-
lot of stipulations.
I
that
mean,
are involved.
10,000 years is that point where like I can't even fathom it brain wise,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Have humans even been
you
around that
can't.
long? Like that's dumb. But like, have we?
That's
not-
what I'm saying.
they
I don't know.
Have been.
I mean, that's got to be
Not-
like
not by a lot.
Neanderthals and shit, though, right?
No,
Like, that
okay,
can't be
no,
like human
'cause we're-
civilization as
Spend
we
more than
know
we
it.
no,
had
is.
like
more than
the
10,000
1100s have been around, or like it was like 10. Yeah, no, we're idiots.
How
I'm an
long
idiot.
have humans existed?
See,
Like,
I'm
we've
sure the
already-
answer to that is
Approximately
millions, though.
6 million years.
But that's got to go back to like
Those are the
cavemen and
oldest
Neanderthals, right?
hominids. Yes. Yeah. How long?
How about
have
Homo
Homo
sapiens?
sapiens.
Yeah, or like
Existed
civilization as we know it. Like I don't even-
300,000 years.
Okay.
Civilization, modern
Like-
Homo
like
sapiens
what did the 1100s look
evolved
like?
around
Does anybody know?
160,000 years.
160. Okay.
The 1100s not a great time, man. You're probably getting conquered by one of 3
But you
empires.
can't die.
I guess that could make you quite the asset. You
Like,
could probably conquer a
long
lot
as
of people.
like as long as
You could
humanity
probably
is
become
around,
a conqueror.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of saying. Like as
Yeah,
long as
'cause
you're, as long as
how long-
humanity is around, you're kind of
Wait,
fine, right?
Am I Paul Atreides? Now I see it.
How long have the Polynesians been around?
Sure.
They ruled the Pacific for quite a bit.
I'm just saying I don't want to. I don't
I'm just
want
trying
to
to roll
have
this
to
into
live
Moana.
for
case anyone was
5,000 years
wondering.
and I'm stuck
That's a
in
good transition.
I'm stuck in stone or something. You know, that's my
Yeah.
nightmare.
It's
I'm
now
in a
that
desert.
you guys are talking me into it, I see the vision on the 10K years, but man, that's
Dr. Stone, Nathaniel?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
terrifying.
yeah, for
Yeah, I don't know where we're at.
For
in 10,000
2,000
years
of it, I had this boulder strapped on my leg. That really sucked, but you know. 60 days just isn't enough, man.
Away, away.
It's quick, you know what I mean? But then
If you were like, hey, you could have, it's either you live a
6
good
years.
Well, or I
Like,
would just say like you live 100 years. You know, like
Mm.
you either get one snapshot or the whole thing.
Yeah, man.
Anyways,
Yeah,
to Tyler's point, like let's get going. We got to do a double ep, and we are already been recording for 10 minutes and online for 30. So
We'll be-
I do
we'll be
like
correct with
Adam's
these ones,
answer
though.
saying, well, like with that amount of time, you could just conquer a lot of people. Which was,
I mean,
we
if I
did
can't
gloss
die,
over, which is a crazy
if it's
statement.
impossible to kill me, then
Right.
I mean, I'm
Like-
gonna live a pretty good 10,000 years. You know what I'm saying?
Or like you'd at least be crazy. Like after all your friends and family die the first time, then you're probably like 2,000 years in. You're like, well, fuck it, I might as well. Like, see if I can take over North America and see what.
Right? I'm gonna get
happens.
bored, bro. Like, I gotta, yeah.
That's crazy. But I hear it. And logically, that's probably the path most people would take, which I would have to agree with.
I would at least have multiple apartments.
At the minimum, I would
That-
benefit from
that-
capitalism. At the minimum, in my 10,000 years, I'll tell you that much.
I'm willing my shit to myself. I'm gonna have a bank account that just has been accruing interest for 5,000 years.
Dude, I'm
Retirement plan's gonna
assassinating.
look sick.
I'm assassinating so many insurance CEOs.
So
like,
many
they're all
CEOs.
gone, bro. I'm replacing them all. You know?
I'm gonna be the lone CEO.
Yeah. You can't stop me, bro. That's a joke, by
All
the
right,
way.
guys,
FBI,
yeah, let's
FBI,
get
if
into
you
Moana.
find this
we may
recording,
wanna
that
cut
is
that. We may
a
wanna cut
joke.
that.
I will not be living to 10,000
Jeffrey
years.
Bezos. Jeffrey Bezos.
I was like, yeah, that's
Alright.
the guy who might actually live to fucking 10,000 years.
Yeah.
If it's anybody, it's fucking Jeff
Oh
Bezos.
my god.
Him and
All right.
Elon.
Yeah, right.
Jesus Christ.